Back for another conversation with men around the Heal Me campaign. My brother, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good today. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great actually. I just left the
Hey,
studio. And even
hey,
though allergies have been killing today,
you
we
ain't
going
never lied. You ain't never lied.
we're gonna make it through. We're gonna make it through. For those of you who are tapping in, this is the Heal Me campaign, brotherly conversations. Where nightly for 21 days in May, I talk to black men about challenges that or difficulties they faced, and then ultimately how they overcame those challenges and those difficulties to get back to a place of peace, power, and purpose. I'm Yusha Assad, hip hop artist, motivational speaker, and master certified professional coach. In 2019, I wrote a song entitled Heal Me featuring Grammy nominated artist Raheem Devon, which talks about how my father inadvertently taught me how to handle pain and difficulty in ways that weren't always healthy. And so I decided to utilize that song and utilize the energy to basically bring conversation to black men about the difficulties we face, how we made it through, and how we got back to a place of strength. Now the goal is three goals: one, that brothers who are currently in that moment will know that they're not alone; two, that they will be able to see that they can make it through; and then three, they'll hear some of the strategies that we've employed to be able to not only get to a place of peace, power, and purpose, but maintain and continue to grow. Our guest today is the media prince, who I've known of for a couple years now, but have started to grow a friendship with in the last couple months. And I want him to introduce you to himself. So, media prince, tell everybody who you are, what you got going on, what you're doing, how they can love you and support you.
Hey, first I'm gonna make sure my screen is clear because a brother, man. There we go. Uh, I'm the
Wipe down.
media. I'm the media prince, an award-winning journalist from the nation's capital. I started a platform in 2015 to just showcase great art of the area. And when I say great art, I mean really great art versus the trash that they shove down our throats.
Hmm.
And from there, it's allowed me to do amazing things in the areas of TV and radio. And I've been able to interview some amazing people and just be a nice barrier of how we can just show the greatness that comes from the DC area. And that's who the Media Prince is in a nutshell.
We love it, bro. We love you for the work that you're doing, how much attention you bring to the. I don't know what just happened. We love you. We love you and the work that you bring to the DMV and how much you showcase and help us grow collectively. I want to tell everybody the schedule for the day. So pretty much this is what happens. We start off by listening to the song "Heal Me" with Raheem Devon, and once we're done, Media Prince is going to give us not necessarily his review of the song. He's going to give us uh, how he relates to it, right? What he heard in the song that might relate to him. After that, we'll immediately dive into his story. Prince, I'm going to ask you one simple question. I'm going to say, "What broke you?" And then from there, you just go into the thing that challenged you the most in life, that gave you that difficult, dark moment of the soul. From there, we'll go into his vices, the things that he may have been using during that time to cope with pain and difficulty. And then after that, we'll go into transition, right? What did he hear? What knowledge did he receive? Or person that he run into who helped him kind of figure out how to navigate out of that place. We'll go into his strategies for healing. We'll go into how he maintains, and then ultimately we'll end with his perspective of peace, power, and purpose. All right, you ready, brother?
I'm ready, brother.
Tap in. Let's tap in.
Yeah. This is my prayer. You see, my father never talked too much. Just that look in his eyes, deep stares out the window, told me that life was simple, but I would never know. And don't feel, so don't follow your heart to advance your cause, but always follow your thoughts and make a smart decision. You should barely apologize and never ask permission. And when the world does a thing to try to break you down, don't tell a soul. They waiting just to take your crown. Your woman gon' think you weak if you express your pain. Your men gon' say you sweet though they be feeling the same. So get advice. Couple Hennessy, cigarette, live your life. Whatever you gotta do to get sleep at night. Cause for the longest, you probably ain't sleeping right. Or even slept at all. When God calls, don't fight it, take a sigh of relief. That you ain't gotta live no more in this grief. Yeah, the cruel world that we living in is hard and cold. You ain't a man till it scars your soul. Straight up, so don't ever express your feelings. Sit in silence. Cause the only feelings you get are anger, hate, and violence. But see, the system got a process and a plan for that. Time is the only thing you got, so never hand them that. So if you ever truly feel like you about to break, get you a pencil and a notebook, let your mind escape. Writing is the only place where we can feel free. After he died, I read his notebook, he wrote, "Heal me.
Heal me, yeah. Heal me. Father, don't nobody understand me. I won't make it out unless you come down and heal me. Heal me. They don't know the pain I've been going through. I call your name because I know that you can heal me.
Was he really that strong? Or just putting up a front? Did death come too soon? Or was it something he won? After 66 hard years of hiding them tears, did he get a reward? Well, let me make this clear that I think his vice got him. The thing he used to cope with life just took the life out of him. Them cigarettes that he was smoking all them stressful days. But we still had a few good days, and I knew, cause he would smoke one or two, but otherwise a pack. I used to ask him not to smoke again, but what I should have said was breathe, pop, don't hold it in. We do yoga to get peace these days, but them Carolina preachers didn't teach these ways. It was suffer and survive. If you don't get your blessings in this life, if you tired, you can get them when you die. He used to hit that cigarette and play too much. That he got cancer and ain't say too much.
He said, heal me. Heal me. Father, don't nobody understand me. I won't make it out unless you come down and heal me. Heal me. They don't know the pain I've been going through. I call your name because I know that you can heal me.
I'm thankful for my outlet, cause without these lines, the ability to filter pain out this mind, I don't know what I would be doing like right this time. My nerves would be just like these minds, ready to blow up when you get on my last, but my heart's sincere. On my health and my wealth this year, I can't let nobody turn me around, as the choir would say. Rebuke the devil when he trying to play. To all my niggas who be going through pain, they won't say shit about it. To ask for help don't mean you shit about it. That just mean you love your life more than your vice. You roll the dice if you don't get about it. We handle problems and forget about it. I learned this lesson a few years ago. Drinking Hennessy every night, he want the tears to flow. I was trying to numb the pain, I couldn't feel me. To get through it, I had to write, so I wrote Heal Me, Lord.
Heal me, Heal me. Hey,
brother. How do you relate to that, man? In any way, shape, form, or fashion?
It's like the walking song for the black man in America, first off. But no, I related to the last words about you wrote the song Heal Me, which healed you. And that like kind of coincides with like where I was. When I went through like my little pitfall, I wrote, and that's what restored me. That's where I could see like literally the pieces connected as far as my point of view with my, turmoil. But no, the song in its whole though is like I'm gonna tell you this. It felt like it brought me back to when I first heard Runaway Love with Ludacris and Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
It gives you that sense of like, this must be heard, this must be told, because it's like a walking song that like speaks to millions of people that are going through different, trials and tribulations. And as black men, we're told to, just be strong, pray it away. And like, the average quote stuff, which is so like detrimental to our health in the long run, because that doesn't help anybody but the person that's giving us this crappy advice in that moment.
Right. Bear your cross.
Man, so let's just say COVID did a big one, but I did an even bigger one. 2020 was like an epic year, man. Epic, epic, epic. And I'm just speaking in the essence because personally, I've never really had like a downfall far as mentally breaking down of anything. I'm pretty much secure in where I am in my life and like getting to work. So like being sad for myself and everything is not really a second nature to me. And it's not saying that uh, I'm battling anything. I'm just very comfortable and aware of how I feel, and I always let people know how I feel so that I'm never in a sunken place.
Right.
But this was like one of the first times where I felt in a sunken place, and it was based off career purposes.
Mm.
So 2020 was like an epic, epic, epic year. I had was crushing interviews. Digitally, I was amazing because I was already ahead of the game of content and things of that nature. Before COVID, people were just out and about, but I was always prone to like digital work. So I was already ahead of the game. I had just did the What's Going On DMV benefit concert with Angie Ange and Zeppelin. I had put out my 35 on the 35 list for the first time. I had my Vice bets MCs of like everything was just going really, really in flow. And then December 2020, a mishap in like the media round that allowed me to look in a different light than what Media Prince has worked hard and is known for. And let's just say within like a matter of like 48 hours, I went from like here to immediately here.
Mhm.
And it was new to me because I know Langston is secured. Langston is secured in life and has his foundation, has his people. But Media Prince had to learn that world because I was so used to being on a high that I never knew what it was like to experience like traumatic failure
Mm.
in your career path. And let's just say this was right in the height of this app called Clubhouse. I don't even know if people use it anymore.
People be on it. I get
Uh,
the tags. I
but
get the
this was in the height of it. So I had got canceled in like a room. I had already got canceled, period, from through emails. But then there was this particular Clubhouse room, and I'm talking about people from like BT, MTV, Viacom, Entertainment Tonight, all the who's from Radio Here were in this room, and I was getting persecuted
Mm.
for like this mishap, which uh long story short, an old just old people that were in my life uh somehow orchestrated this time frame that made Media Prince look like a thief. And in the height of it already being a pandemic and everybody is so crucial to their work, it didn't really help me in the time frame of in that span of looking innocent to people who don't know me. So to their eyes, I'm looking like an ungenuine entertainment journalist, which is contrast to what I worked very hard to be. And I had to like sit through fire because it's hard to validate yourself and prove yourself to people who don't know you or don't care and only going off what they see. And I had to like eat that. So it like put me in like a funk, like from, and this happened at like the third or fourth day of December. So it
So you
went from me getting invited to places to not getting invited to places, not getting the look. And it really sit me like down. And I also had to learn too in that time frame because I had got so used to being like good so used to being good that I didn't understand the tools of what happens when it's bad. So it was also like a teachable lesson at that time. I had to really look of how I could mold Langston's foundation into media prints. So who are my supporters? Who are the people I can vent to? Who are the people I can rely on? Who's really in my corner? And that's how I had to mold media prints into my very own life itself. I always kept the two separate. Now they're intertwined in a way to where I'm okay now. You get what I'm saying? But in that time frame, it just was going down. Like,
So look, let me interject. Let me interject because I
uh,
want you to give us more. I want to dive a little deeper into. And so, first of all, thank you. Right, thank you for even being willing to share your story with us, and thank you for your truth. So essentially, you went from being on a roll in a sense of really being ahead of the curve. It's 2020, it's pandemic. You're ahead of the curve digitally, so you've been able to do the things that you need to do, being tapped into the right rooms, the right conversations. You went from that to, in a matter of 4 days, essentially being discontinued in terms of being invited, being connected, being in the rooms that you had worked to. And not only that, your name was still in the group, but your name was in there in a way which was counterproductive to the brand that you were building for yourself. Can you tell us what that felt like?
it felt like a punch in the stomach. Because I just was all first of all, I was already looking at it in a bad way, period, from how I expected people to be versus what they were.
Mm.
And I had to, it felt worse for me because I also had people in higher position, higher standards in my eyes. But so I felt alone. I felt alone. I felt dismissed. I felt misjudged. I felt confused at like how. And honestly, I went into like what's the it's like attack mode. You know what I'm saying? I started to like going. I felt like I was back into a corner, really, 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 and I had to really like realign if I really want to do this or not.
Mm.
Like it really came to a point where I was just like, maybe this was the end all be all. Maybe I'm supposed to just not do media no more. Maybe this is just where the fork has been stuck and now it's done.
So in that place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like you had some solid footing, and this is the way I look at it. It sounds like you were walking on concrete, and then the ground under you got busted up. So you went from being on concrete to like being on gravel, which is shaky, right? No sure footing, especially in terms of where you are with your career. And this has to be a place, right, where different things set in. And correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe indecision set in, right? A little doubt sets in, all really kind of stemming and based in fear. Like, what did this do to you? Where did this put you? Because you used the word sunken place earlier, but what was your sunken place? Like, what were your vices? What were the things that you
Uh, Mary Jane definitely heightened itself in that time frame. Like, because honestly, the week I got canceled, I already had stuff lined up on schedule to still continue to do like nothing was happening. So it was like I didn't really have much time to like sit in
mm,
my sunkenness. I had to get back to work, which was also a battle in itself because now I'm faking. Now I'm
mm,
faking to look excited that I'm doing this when I'm like scared to do this now because I don't know if you've heard the story or I don't know if you've heard the story or I don't know if this has gotten to you. So it was just like not only feeling in a sunken place but walking on eggshells at the same time while you're down there. So it was just tough, man. It was something where I didn't know what my outlet was at the time, and I didn't know that my outlet was becoming an outlet. All I could just do was journal. That's all I could do, but I didn't even really know that that was the beginning parts of anchoring me back.
sounds like a lack of safety and a lack of trust?
Facts, big facts.
this idea that you was like you had to fake it. You had to fake it stood out to me because it connects to so many times when we go through difficulties, but we don't have the space to like mourn, grieve, or truly feel what we dealing with. So we have to show up. And was your show like how was the effectiveness of your showing up at that time, right? Because you're showing up because you got to do it. Well, how was your effectiveness? Like, was it the same level of, were you still able to pull off the same level of effectiveness, or could you feel that things weren't could you feel that things weren't 100?
I could feel things weren't 100, but I could also feel in those moments they were like it would come so fast, like it wouldn't stay long. But in my head, I'm like something your strength is becoming different because this was something new to me, and the fact that I was still getting work done in the midst of it. Every now and then it would come like a flash thought, like maybe you're becoming built for this. But that thought would like immediately get flushed out. Well, don't get your hopes up high because they're gonna hear about this, or they might. You know what I'm saying? It was like so fast. So it was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde a lot for some
Mhm.
time before I realized like I was also doing more damage to myself too with my own thoughts versus what was happening in reality.
Lean into that for us. Explain that a little more. Like, I feel like I get it, but I don't want to make no assumptions. Break that down.
So though I was in a very bad spot, yes, like there was no doubt. Uh, I think I added on to make it worse than what was happening in reality. So though, yes, I was being depicted in this way and being, looked upon in this light. At the same time, I didn't give myself the grace to know that there are some people that don't know about this situation at all, and
Right.
you can still get to work. And those were like those. It became from it became two different battles. It went from me battling the thoughts of others to now battling what I'm thinking because I'm now making it way worse on myself than what's happening in reality. So it's like I let the situation like start to like trickle down into how I saw myself in the scheme of this entertainment business, which looking back now, I wish I didn't, you know, because looking back, cancellation was just like everybody was getting canceled. And I should have like took it as a little badge of honor that I got thrown into what they call cancel culture and was able to fall through it. And I was able to have my name in a lot of people's, mind. I took up a lot of space in a lot of people's mind, and now I'm looking at it as the cup uh, half full. Then that cup was given more than half empty. So it's like how I'm looking at it now and where I'm at is totally different than how it was in that moment. And now I can differentiate uh, where I was. Like sometimes I'll scroll through like social media or like my archive or like even in like my photo history on my phone, and I'll see pictures of that time, like or
Mm.
and I just remember like it's like a cringe. Like I remember that experience and like at one point thinking like how am I going to put the pieces together, not even realizing like step out of self and just continue to work and you'll get back.
Yeah. Thank you for that. You're talking about one. You said something that I love. It was an affirmation in a sense. You said I was learning that I was built for this. But now you're talking about the perspective that you have on it now versus the perspective you have on it then. And it sounds like your coping mechanisms as a time was definitely Mary Jane, but it also sounds like just working was your coping mechanism. You just kind of put your head into the things you had going, and you had to work them. Though you're battling not only the views of other people, but you're battling how you view yourself. Can you tell us how you, right? Obviously, you're at a place now where you have a better perspective. What transitioned you? What happened? What thing? What experience? What knowledge? What thought processes transitioned you?
Honestly, it was like it's crazy. Langston's foundation helped the media press. So like I just went back home. I just went to my parents. I chilled with my parents, vibed, TikToked with them, ate good food. I was able to take off the hat and just understand life is good outside of this little thing. And I had a good foundation in my career field. I had my publicist, I had my manager, people that just understood, you know, what it might look like and what it can be. And then honestly too, I took a vacation to Miami and I was just able to just relax and just enjoy the fruits of my labor in a sense. And that was really like a nice getaway from all of it. I was able to step away. I was able to clearly think what the next moves were. So I will say that vacation, some water and some sand, that definitely can help a brother out. And it definitely did. I'm not gonna hold you.
So, in a sense, it forced you into a unplug,
Fact. There it is.
pushed you back home, where you unplugged from entertainment, but it sounds like you plugged back in to plug back into you, and you plug back into love.
Facts. That's exactly what it was.
What are so you plug back in, you get a chance to tap in with yourself. You take your vacation. You say you enjoy the fruits of your labor. You realize you get a bigger perspective on life, realizing that outside of that world, outside of those people talking about you, outside of this negativity, you're like, nah, I'm loved, I'm supported, I got people, right? When you came back from Miami, tell us what your daily process looked like as you started to regather post trip, realizing, post realizations. What did your process look like after that?
Writing affirmations and quotes, like restoring myself, just like writing stuff out. That was like step one. And then taking it day by day. What do I want to do in my world of media prints? Do I want to do a photo shoot? Do I want to do a rebranding? It was just like, I've unplugged. The world can think what they want to. I've tuned out the world. What do I want to do in this free time? I like literally, I promise you that January through March, that if I had so many, like, I had so many meetings with potential people that wanted to bring segments. It just was like a whole new world. It felt like I was restarting media prints. I felt like in that time frame, it felt like I was getting back to the beginning of why I liked doing media prints. And
Mm.
it wasn't for the accolades, it wasn't for the look. It was for the platform to tell stories that need to be told. And it felt like I was getting back to square one.
Mm.
That's what that felt like in that time frame. It felt like when I came home from vacation, I had a clearer thought of how to get back to square one and like really forget showing other people, showing myself how I became who I am. And the rest was history.
That's just history. That's super dope, man. That's super dope. So if I can reiterate those, right? So affirmations, self affirmations, reminding yourself who you were.
Facts.
Um, remembering your why,
Yes.
and really just taking your time to think about. I liked it because you said this to me before. You was like, not just taking it day by day, waking up every day and asking myself one simple question: well, what do I want to do for myself today?
Facts.
Right? What do I want to do for my brand or for my business today, outside of whatever? What do I want to create? What do I want to focus on?
Facts.
So if we do that, right, we take those things, right, this day by day focus, this intentionality of what I want to create, this why, right? Remembering my why, putting my purpose and heart back into it, and reminding myself why I do this in the first place. And then speaking over myself, right? Affirmation, speaking over myself in a way that, and you use the word restore, restoring myself, speaking over myself in a way that restores me.
Right.
What did this allow you to do, right? What came out of that?
These two books right here.
Tell us about them. Tell us about these two books.
So it's the book is called "And Then I Was Canceled: Motivational Quotes for Triumph and Success." That was the first edition. This was me telling him my backstory of what happened, how I got canceled, and then what I said to myself that restored me. And so it's crazy. I was just reading the quotes, and it's so crazy how the quotes really, they were like, they go in a sequence order without even meant to be going in the sequence order. I just was reading them, and I'm just like, dang, it would be dope if other people could hear these type of quotes or say this to themselves.
Mm.
And then something clicked. And they was like, what about a book? I was like, And I'm like, a book of quotes? Why not? It was everything that brought me back to triumph and success through my turmoil, now at the hands of other people who are looking for their second chance after getting cancer, because everybody deserves second chances.
Right.
And then this was, I say, the first edition was about restoration and empowerment. And then the second edition, I got deeper. I added about 50 to 100 more quotes. I had peer testimonials added. I
Mm.
had an in-depth interview. This one focused more on where the first one focused on empowerment and restoration. This one stood on mental wellness
Mm.
and mental freedom, of how you even get to the empowerment and the restoration. This one tackles how you even mentally get out of that first.
Mm.
And so it's just that was just like my I didn't realize my outlet was that. And so it became something on its own. It wasn't forced. It just like lined itself up. And I think that was the first way. The launch of the book was like the first way back. And I didn't ask for validation. I wasn't seeking it. I wanted to just create something that allowed other people to feel like me again. And
Mm.
from there, not even realizing this was the answer to me, for me, this also ended up being the answer for my brand, because it put me in a space where I took lemons and made lemonade. So even like at that point, don't get me wrong, it felt good when I got the comments like "Welcome back" or "This was a smart move," "This is genius." That felt great, but at that moment, it just was. It felt good for me that I'm get to share the work that I've been working diligently on in my cut on my pace.
Now, 2020, before all this goes down, you're winning.
Right.
2023, you're winning.
Yes.
What is the difference in your posture now versus then?
My posture now versus then is honestly, I'm solidified in knowing this is my career path. I'm supposed to do this, and I'm also there's a response. I know there's a responsibility with this. Few are chosen, and I'm one of the few. So I am already solidified in knowing I am the media prince. This is what it is. But with this now comes a responsibility, because now I know the importance of my platform and what I need to do with my platform in terms of inspiring others as a blueprint. So it also differs from then and now. Also, I'm more diligent of opportunities to make sure that they are authentic so they don't kick me in the ass later. So, and now I don't have any then I had very high expectations. Now I'm just enjoying and going with the flow. I pray for stuff to happen. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, let's keep going to work because the blessing didn't stop. It's just I have to follow God's anchoring versus just mine. So now I'm just enjoying day by day and the opportunities that show itself with us, and while being mindful that I have a responsibility with the platform that I have to be authentic, uh, and continue to work. I owe it to people that want to see how far this thing can go. I am those people at the same time. Though I'm living Media Prince dream, I'm also I let Langston I let Langston in a lot as the young boy that hoped and prayed this could happen. And I let him soar a lot in these opportunities because he gets to really be happy that this can be done. So that's just where I'm at now.
Man, listen, you said some really critical things. I got my iPad on, so I'm watching IG's comments. And I want to ask a question that somebody asked, but I want to point out that you said a few critical things here that I think so important.
Mm,
Um, One, right? You kind of allude to this idea of like, I prayed for things before, but now I understand it. Like I pray for things, but if it happens, it happens. It's kind of like you're in this God flow now, where it seems like your love for the work and your love for the journey supersedes the outcomes.
correct.
Um, it also sounds like you're just more confident. You're like, man, I know now. Like I know how to do the research. I know how to take on opportunities and how not to take on opportunities. I mean,
Right.
you confidently said few were chosen. Hey,
Right.
and I'm one of the few. This person asks, would you say that this has always been you before? It just took something to transform your thinking. And I'm kind of alluding to that too, because my thought process is what parts. Obviously, you're more confident.
Mm,
Obviously, you're more settled.
right.
And I say that because I tell people all the time, fear will make you underwork. It will make you not try.
Right.
Fear will also make you overwork. It'll make you do too much.
Right.
You seem to be in this place where you're just like, I know what to do, I know what not to do, I know how to move. I'm settled, not with my position, but I'm settled in understanding that this is a journey, and I just wake up every day and do the work because I love it.
Correct.
How did what parts of this break, this transition, help you get to that thought process, to that peace and a peace of mind in a sense?
Yeah. It was like blocking out all the noise and the chaos. I can honestly say too, in the growth that I am in now, I had got big headed. 2020, I had got very big headed,
Mm.
and I had got in the notion of I am the media prince, so I expect this, and I can now admit that. I think that whole experience was a nice humbling to understand, like that's not why you do this,
Mm.
and it was just like a nice decompressed, unplugged from the world to really get in line. I think this was the time. No more smoky mirrors.
Mm.
No more, people at your beck and call. This was your time to see if this is what you really want to do. You cancel, brother. You either could toss it out, but if this is what you want to do, are you gonna get to work? That's what really was that whole time frame was like. There's no one applauding you. Are you still going? Are you still going to work? This is still what you want to do. And in that time frame, I was like, this is what I still really, really want to do. This is, I don't care about the applause. I don't care about the hoopla. I really want to write. I really want to blog. I really want to do interviews. I really want to tell stories. I really want to curate content. I really want to inspire. I really want to show people this can happen. That's what it brought me back to.
Mm.
So I think, like the person asked, I think that experience allowed me to get back to what was there, which was authentic, just authentic, organic vibes and progression of. I was able to progress in my city because I love my city and included my city. And in that time frame, I thought I got bigger than my city. And that never helps when you do that because it just sends you in a downward spiral. I'm just thankful that I had great foundation that was there in the time where I could have went way worse. And you get what I'm saying? When you get into a chaos, more chaos usually comes if you don't have a solid foundation that can like diffuse the chaos. I think in that time frame, I had a great foundation, which let me know in my restoration why I was called to do this. Like God was like, I've already set the seeds up for you. Even in your downfall, you're you have something to fall down on. Cherish that and remember why this is what you're supposed to do. Get back to that.
I
And
want
the
I want to point that out too because you're saying part of your success in this time is that you had somewhere to go. You had love, you had support, you had family, you had connection. And I know that there's somebody right now saying, "Well, that's better than me because I don't have that." But I do want to also say this: you had it because you allowed it. You just accepted the flow of what was happening and allowed yourself to be like, all right, cool. If this gonna be an unplug, I'm gonna unplug. I'm gonna tap
yeah,
in. And I say that because it's not that I want to invalidate somebody who says they don't have anybody, because I personally know what it feels like to literally be at the bottom and have nowhere to go.
right.
But I think it's also something to say that like you would have also not had anybody unless you allowed yourself to recognize that you had support.
Amen.
And
That's
so
that's
many people don't let people in. They don't allow themselves to recognize their support. And I think it's big that you did that. He was like, nah, I went back home. I tapped in.
maybe. And I forgave myself.
That's big. Talk about
You
that.
got to give grace to yourself because mistakes are going to happen. Sometimes these mistakes are not even your fault. It's accountability. Like I took accountability at that time, and I'm just like looking back. I'm like, who is this guy? Because I never thought I would ever be this mature and stable, even in a time where I didn't know how to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Mm,
Like looking back, I don't know how. I mean, of course, God clearly, but even in that time frame, I couldn't like as so far off the cliff that I was. There was something still keeping the rest of my feet from falling off. I don't
wow.
know. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in that time frame, I had to just take accountability for, unfortunately, what it looked like. Even though it's not what it was, I took accountability of what it looked like, and I forgave myself for what it looked like. The forgiving part came, I would probably say around vacation. I'm just like, it's okay. I made a mistake happen. Whether it's my fault or not, a mistake happened. It's okay. You're alive. You're breathing. Your feet is in the sand. You're in the water. You're with loved ones. There's peace around. Forgive yourself. You know.
Has that
It,
that altered or proved or changed the way you forgive others or treat others?
of course, it definitely do because you can't forgive others if you don't know how to forgive yourself. And you're gonna. I learned in that time frame too. I was like like I told you, I was making my reality way worse than what it was, and that's because I wasn't forgiving myself. I wasn't allowing that situation to be what it was. Forgive yourself, move on. It happened already. Why am I beating myself up more? Forgive myself for whatever part I played in it, and let's see what I can do now to restore myself because I forgive myself. And then once I forgave myself, now I need to make this situation work for me and not go back. Because if I go back, then that means I didn't forgive myself.
Right. Mm. Y'all hear that? Keep going back. That means you ain't forgive yourself. You're trying to go back and correct things instead of just understanding that that moment was that moment.
It was that moment. And you also got to too. What I've learned too in my growth too now. Unfortunately, some people will be stuck in that place you were in. There are some people that are going to be upset at your growth past your turmoil, and there are going to be some people that are so uncomfortable with the greatness you exude that their only way to try to humble you or to get under your skin is to bring back what you were or what was.
Don't try to act like you such and such. I remember who you was 4, 5, 20, 25.
And then you gladly remind them. I hope you continue to remember who that person was, because that's the only figment of me you're gonna know from now on. Because the future me, you're not allowed into this place. So if that's where you want to stay at, and I always say, media prints, you can learn so many different avenues. Some people may know me for the amazing person in entertainment and journalism. Some people may know me in that bad light. I now have the notion is either inform yourself and educate yourself, or you have the right to stay ignorant. And if you want to stay in that ignorant space to where you knew me of and you don't want to know me now, you have every right. Just understand the person you know then is not who you're gonna ever to be able to get in contact with now. So stay there and enjoy where you at there as I continue off over
Stay there and enjoy it.
here.
I ain't even mad at you. Stay there and enjoy it,
Yeah.
brother. Like you dropping jewels. You dropping them. Let's talk about now, man. What do you do now to just maintain consistent spirit and energy and posture and growth? What's your process look like daily?
Now I just do what feels comfortable. I get up, I either read, I told you we've been talking, I either read the Quran or, pray, or I'll get my little ratchetness in by watching social media. I go to work, I get work done, uh, I see what I want to post or what content I want to create. If I want to do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. I'm at a place now, I'm enjoying more personal life to where my personal life is so lit, it's not consumed with my business life. So it allows me to tackle business from an area of, if this is what it's calling to do, let's do it. If not, oh well. That's just what I do now. So that's my daily routine. And of course, filming, interviewing when I can, still telling stories, still going outside when I want to go outside. But now I'm just in my groove of just, what do I want to do? What do I want to be, and what do I want to say? And taking the time to unplug to do it if I need to.
And you get in the gym, right?
And I'm in the gym. And I'm in the gym.
Oh, Chris,
That's
what you doing, man? In the gym?
that's it's just, and honestly now I've learned too. I like the gym so much too. Aside from working out, that's a great time to catch up on all the TV that I don't get to catch up on. So I'll be in the gym watching movies. Next thing you know, I'm like, dang, I done burned 1,000 calories in here watching this movie. So I'm just doing stuff that I like and what says yes to me, and then going from there.
Dope, dope, dope. And we really thank you for being willing to share your story with us. You dropped some real jewels today. I think the thing that's gonna stand out to me, one of the things gonna stand. I'm listening to everything. But one of the things that's gonna stand out to me the most is this idea of I accept that there are people who will always remember who I used to be, and I'm gonna let them have fun
Yeah,
in that space.
and it's not their fault. They are not mentally capable of learning the person you are today. So you let them stay there, and you also have to understand that it's not a you thing; it's a them. Something agitates them in your growth that they feel the need to bring up your past, and I feel bad for you. That's all you could do. My goodness, you can't handle me now because if that's you thought was gonna happen, you thought that was gonna break me. Man, you went for a rude awakening trying to battle who this person is today, and the person who is here today is so content with who he is that I'd rather pray for you now because something's wrong with you that you trying to disrupt what's happening over here.
Listen, listen when I tell you. Talking to my homegirl Erica. We talk every Friday at 11. That's my planning partner. We talk every Friday. She live in LA. And Erica called me, and even in reference to the reality TV world, right? She talks about the power of indifference.
Mm-hmm.
My great brother, one of my good friends and brothers, my line brother Chico Bean, is the first person who offered to me the book called The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And right, the art of not giving a fuck, the idea that I don't give a fuck, right? It sounds harsh to people, but Erica expresses it in the power of indifference. To be in a space with such a space with yourself, with your own well-being, with your own consciousness, your own relativity to God, that you understand that you need not to give too much energy to the good comments or the bad comments, because essentially all of those are comments from outside yourself. The biggest comments are the biggest thoughts, or what you say to yourself, right? And you find that in your affirmations. So she talks about the power of indifference, that the true power, the true um, evidence that a person has true power over their life and over their own consciousness is when people say things to them that aren't kind. They just have this spirit of indifference of,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
feel like you're speaking on that now. You're like, that's where I'm at. It ain't even hate. It's all love, but it's like, huh? Huh?
Facts.
Okay.
That's where you at. Hey,
Right.
and then I'm also key to some people want the look, so they'll go out their way to bring you down so that you now share your platform with them. You giving them promo. You're giving them what they asking for. Nah, you good. And I'm not even. I'm at a place where you're not about to disrupt my peace. So if that's what you want, stay over there with the people that's on that.
Right.
I'm going with the people that's on this.
We'll lean into this, man. Listen, thank you so much. I got 3 questions for you, man.
Okay.
Quickest responses that come to your mind. It could be one word, it could be phrases, whatever, but just whatever comes to the mind first, man. Three
Okay.
P's. 3 P's.
Okay.
When are you most peaceful?
Between between the hours of 9 to midnight. Laying down when I'm just in my bed watching ASMR videos, uh, watching people cook, watching TV, just relaxing, feet curling. I don't have any care. I'm just in my content zone, just relaxing.
Thank you for that. When do you feel most purposeful?
Every day. Uh, every day that I'm going out and put my best foot forward, I feel most purposeful. I feel like it's purpose in everything I do. So doing it, just doing it is purpose for me at this point.
So, when do you feel most powerful?
Mm. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. Um and it hits you in waves too. I try to I try to do something when I'm in those moments. I try to either do a photo shoot, or I try to like do an interview, or I try to speak to people, or I try to make a post. That's what, like, when I'm feeling that energy, because the energy comes and goes. It's like, because you also don't want to stay in it too much, because then that's where you could get big headed,
Right.
because you know your power. But it comes and goes. When I'm out and about doing things, when I'm posting, or where I'm creating a message and I see people are listening, I feel most powerful. It just comes and goes. And then it's also transitioned into like Langston, seeing what I'm doing in like my family, and what I'm when I'm talking to people, and just like the way I could change someone's mood. It just I feel powerful.
Hmm.
And
Brother,
with that comes responsibility, though. That's the key thing. With
great.
power comes responsibility.
We talked about this, man. You're a powerful dude. Built for it.
Yeah.
Built for it. Before we get up out of here, man, somebody in the world right now, you said it too. Somebody in the world right now is in that place, in that sunken place, and they don't know how to get out. Talk to them.
Um, Head to Amazon again, and then I was canceled. But no, if you're in that sunken place, honestly, self reflect. It's all about you first. Get yourself in tune to where you want to go, and shut the world off. I know it's easier said than done, but there has to be a place where you come. It's just you. Tunnel vision on just you. Forgive yourself. Give yourself grace, and give yourself time to enjoy. Just enjoy the moments that you can enjoy. Reflect and get back to work, and remember that it could be worse. So understand, where you are in the situation, just where you are in that situation. And this could possibly, be your testimony. So enjoy the test. So people run away from the test, and or like correct with the test.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's meant for you to enjoy the test, because this is going to be the test that unlocks the new levels. So focus in on yourself and enjoy the test where you are right now. And this is where you find out if you're going to pass or fail. Do
Man,
you?
I think the mere fact that you called it a test, that perspective alone should set you up to pass. Because not knowing that it's a test and thinking that it is the outcome is where some people get drowned, man. We really appreciate it, y'all. For those who are tapped in right now, this is the Heal Me campaign, nightly conversations with brothers. Where we talk with men who have been through something and have experienced the difficulty, but were able to find their way out of it. And we're utilizing these stories to give inspiration to brothers who may be experiencing similar moments, understanding that they are not alone, that they can get out of it, and that here are some strategies in which they can employ. Media Prince, the Media Prince, we appreciate you. We love you. We're happy to have you. Thank you for sharing your story with us, your time with us.
Thank
Uh,
you for creating a platform for us to share.
Brody, bro, we tapped in. Um, we gonna sign out, man. Let's take care of these allergies,
Bruh,
bruh.
over here dying on the low. But see, keeping it professional, knowing damn well I want to take this napkin so bad and go to work.
Man, listen, I'm about to take care of myself too, because But thank you, man. We professional. We show up. We give consistency, man, and love.
Yeah.
So blessings, brother. Peace, peace.